If you're not happy when you go to sit down to eat, you need to wait and get your mind right before you eat. This is something that has heavily affected me in the past, is I would eat out of stress. Now that the camera was full apparently, so I needed to delete some content, but let's get right back into it. I would eat out of stress. When I really think and look back at my life, and I've been into the whole health thing since I was in my early 20s. When I first started all this stuff, I would eat out of the idea, the stress of, if I don't do this, if I don't, I'm not going to become enlightened. I want to stimulate my kundalini. I got to eat this. And when I think back about it, I was eating for some pretty righteous reasons. I was eating to try to illuminate myself, because diets, ladies and gentlemen, the diet, what we eat is energy, and energy affects the energy body of the human being. And the kundalini is an energy system within the biology. I was eating to try to awaken my kundalini, which is a righteous thing in my opinion. But when I look back at many of the years when I was doing that, there wasn't a lot of peace of mind while I was eating. It was always, I got to eat this to try to produce this effect. And because of that, I was always in my head, and I couldn't really enjoy the food to the most of my ability. You need to learn to eat out of joy. I've found that the best way to eat is to try to remove all forms of thinking, all forms of worry. Every time you sit down to have food, you should be so happy and grateful that you have food. It should be a feast. It should be festive. You should eat like a king or a queen. And if you actually feel that while you're eating that, your experience will mirror that. If you eat out of happiness, if you eat out of joy, you will digest food much better, is essentially what I'm getting at. And digestion is the key to nutrition, because if you don't digest food properly, you're not going to absorb nutrition. You could eat algae, you could eat organic cherries, you could eat organic blueberries. It doesn't matter what you're eating. If you don't digest it properly, those foods can now begin to rancidify, putrefy, and ferment in your gastric chamber. And those once or previously healthy foods can now become toxic. So, eating out of joy. There is no proper digestion without... If you're in a state of unease, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to affect all of your gastric nerves. You're going to affect your entire digestive system. That's why a lot of people who have anxiety or are worried all the time, they feel it in their gut. They can actually feel it in their solar plexus. That's because your mind and your gut are intimately connected, as well as your heart. Every part of your being is. But there's a direct connection. Your mind has a direct connection, a very intimate connection to the cells and the nerves, you name it, in your digestive system. And when you're stressed, when you're anxious, those nerves and those cells constrict and they don't function properly, because when your mind is at a lack of ease, so are all of your cells. Again, your mind is in control and regulates and has a direct effect on every part of your physical makeup. So without peace of mind, there is no proper digestion. That is essentially what I'm getting at. Now, one thing that I like to do before I eat is I like to sit for a few minutes and say a prayer over my food. On top of that, I like to direct my focus to my digestive system, to my small and large intestine. And I like to imagine them filled with light, filled with joy, filled with happiness. I try to completely calm my digestive system with visualization, because I know that visualization has a direct effect on certain outcomes in life, because the mind, again, especially the subconscious mind, produces results on the physical plane. So by envisioning your stomach and your digestive system functioning properly, you actually begin to terraform the way that the nerves and the cells in your system actually function. This is heavily important. The mind is the key. The mind is the key, ladies and gentlemen. So I'd love for you, next time you eat something, to really sit down while you're eating and ask yourself, am I at peace right now? Because again, a lot of people are not eating out of peace. They're eating out of habit, and most people are eating out of habit because they're stressed. They're using food as a way to remedy stress. And when you eat out of stress to try to remedy a certain uncomfortable feeling, you're not at ease. And that's why there's so much constipation here in the Matrix. That's why people aren't going to the bathroom 2, 3, 4 times a day. They're going to the bathroom 2 or 3 or 4 times a week. If your digestion's really on point, you'll go to the bathroom 2 to 3 times bare minimum every day. You're going to eliminate things like clockwork. Your digestive system will get so strong that you'll be able to feel like you can break down concrete in your stomach and eliminate it. There's a huge problem with the digestive system in the Matrix here in the United States, and the time that it takes for foods to be broken down inside the system and be eliminated is way too long. That's because people have sluggish digestion. They have much more than just sluggish digestion, but that's a huge problem. Another thing is people are eating out of stress. They're eating out of addiction. They're eating because they are uncomfortable, or a lot of people will do what's known as emotional eating. So people who are depressed will sometimes eat a lot, or every time you eat something or put something into your system that's over encumbered with negative feeling and thinking, you're not doing yourself a service. You're doing yourself a massive disservice. Because it's bad enough to have those depressive thoughts without the food involved. But when you have those depressive thoughts encumbering your eating experience, you're now putting food into your system. And because you're stressed, because you're unhappy, your system, your digestive system is not going to function properly. So now you have the stress on the body from food not being able to be broken down properly. And a lot of people, a pandemic I like to call it here in this Matrix, is that many people, they shovel food into their mouth. Because again, they're eating to try to escape certain feelings. They're eating out of boredom, and they're just shoveling foods. In order for you to digest food properly, you have to masticate your food until you can barely even taste that food anymore. Until you've developed so much saliva in your mouth from chewing that you can barely taste the food that you were chewing. That's when you swallow. That practice alone requires so much commitment, so much dedication, and so much willpower to do that the average person will never even do it one day of their life. Most people will just continue. Most people, I watch them all the time. And I watch myself at times. It's like, what am I doing? I'll chew 2. I wanted to personally thank you for watching my videos and contributing to the growth of my channel. I could not do this without you, and your interest in my content is truly what motivates me and fuels my passion for making these videos and spreading my message. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wanted to remind you that this channel is a free educational tool that is listener supported, and if you would like to donate to my channel and donate to my cause, help make my life a little bit easier and help keep the lights on around here, you can do so by checking out the links in the description box below. There's a handful of not only ways to donate to my channel, but I also have links to different websites and different videos of mine, as well as my Amazon store, where you can check out a plethora of different health-related products that I use and recommend. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your continued interest in my message, and until next time, peace be with you all.